2.5 years after its initial release, the Google Pixel Watch continues to be a pretty great smartwatch and I use it every day alongside my Pixel 9 Pro. So far it held up surprisingly well, especially for being a first-generation product. It seems like Google's strategy of letting Fossil and Samsung do the dirty work for some generations to get a catch on the market rather late turned out to be beneficial. While both of its successes introduced some new features, namely skin temperature measurements, improved heart rate tracking and an aluminium housing on the second generation, and a whole new size, ultra-wideband and a drastically improved screen on the third generation, that doesn't mean that their predecessor sucks or something. Some people may even prefer its stainless steel chassis over the aluminium housing the second and third generation come with. In a couple of months, software support for the Google Pixel Watch will end. There couldn't be a better time to look back on the smartwatch, and there couldn't be a better time to look forward, because Google seems to be invested in getting their watches out to the people. The Google Pixel Watch comes in just one size. I love the 41mm diameter and wouldn't want the watch to be any larger, but I know many people were very happy when the larger 45mm diameter was introduced for the Google Pixel Watch 3. I can see a couple of very small scratches, but with the fact in mind that this is basically just a very big, constantly outward-facing dome of glass, it could very well be worse. The rest of the housing looks almost spotless after I used it daily for 2 years without a case and without a screen protector of any kind. I've seen some watches on Reddit that fell apart, but from my experience this is a very stable and robust smartwatch. I hope the second and third generations keep this momentum going in spite of the switch to aluminium. Google promised to update the Pixel Watch for 3 years, which means the end of life is expected for October this year. Updates haven't been consistent when it comes to release frequency and quality. For example, I suffered from terrible battery life for a couple of weeks after I updated to Wear OS 5. You can expect a security patch roughly every 3 months, with a big version update every year. Overall, I can't complain too much. I like Wear OS and Google added tons of great features over the last couple of years. The integration of Fitbit was a smart move and I'm sure they'll get rid of Google Fit as soon as they can. While I don't think they would ever do that, I'd love seeing them get rid of Fitbit Premium as well, or at least somehow integrate it into Google One. I hate additional subscriptions for full-price hardware products with a burning passion. But no worries, the Pixel Watch doesn't really suffer at all if you don't want to subscribe to the service. Let's talk about performance and battery life, the two things that usually suffer after a couple of years using a phone or smartwatch. Battery life isn't noticeably worse than when I first got the watch. It still lasts me for exactly 24 hours, 8 of them without the always-on display and 16 with the always-on display. I charge the watch every evening roughly 2 hours before going to bed. That way I can have consistent sleep and activity tracking. The watch might last longer if you don't use some of its features, but in general this is a product you have to charge every day, just like most smartphones. That fact didn't change with the second and third generation, while both offer slight battery life improvements. The performance is pretty decent still, but it was never amazing to begin with. There are a few lags here and there, starting an app usually takes a second or two. It isn't bad by any means, but it's also not the most responsive watch either. The better CPU on the second and third generation actually helps with that. A longer update guarantee wouldn't hurt the Pixel Watch. I could easily use the smartwatch for another year or even 2, but I won't because I have software FOMO. That brings us to chapter 2. The Google Pixel Watch has another 9 months of updates to come. You can find it as cheap as €50 on the secondary market or pay about €100 for a completely new watch. The version with LTE support is just a few bucks more expensive. I actually have the Pixel Watch LTE but never used the eSIM functionality. For an upgrade, I'll just buy whatever is cheaper, as I now know that I don't care whether or not my watch supports LTE on its own. Being a whole year newer, the Google Pixel Watch 2 has another 21 months of updates yet to come. Its end of life is expected for October 2026. The German Google store sells the non-LTE version for 200 euros at the moment. The closer it gets to 150 euros, the better the deal. The third generation is sold for 400 euros, though there recently was a coupon bringing it down to 250. At the moment, and with updates up until October 2027, that's a very good deal. Personally, I would choose the middle ground and go for the Pixel Watch 2. It's quite a bit cheaper, though it doesn't feature the major screen improvements introduced with the Pixel Watch 3. I don't think waiting for the Pixel Watch 4 to see Pixel Watch 2 prices drop would be worth it. It may be worth it for the third generation, which might see a discount when the fourth gen is available. I will continue to use my Pixel Watch LTE until a great deal for the second or third generation comes along. If that doesn't happen, I might just buy one used or utilize the Google Store credit buying the Pixel 10 will surely give me. I almost forgot. Do you remember me talking about Fitbit Premium and how it's not worth it at all? I have Fitbit Premium and I never paid for it. The good thing is, almost every new piece of Pixel hardware will give you 6 months for free. I bought my Pixel Watch LTE used and the offer popped up as soon as I connected it to my phone. And when I bought the Pixel 9 Pro, it also came with 6 months for free. So if you need constant access to Fitbit Premium, just buy a new phone every year in August and a used watch of the previous generation in March, assuming the offer won't change in the future. Or just fuck it all together because Fitbit Premium really isn't worth it. Very recently, Google updated all Pixel watches to support a notification that appears on your phone when the watch is fully charged. The notification disappears as soon as you remove the watch from the charger. This is a small tweak and there are bigger shortcomings Google needs to work on. For example, according to Wired, Google is working on making its future wearables repairable. Currently, they just ship out replacements for warranty claims as the current lineup isn't repairable. There have also been reports on a collaboration with Qualcomm with the intention to make Wear OS compatible with RISC-V alongside ARM. There could be a custom RISC-V chip in development under the Snapdragon Wear brand, and it could be released this year, according to an interview with Qualcomm VP of Wearables Dino Bekis, I hope I pronounced that correctly, conducted by Android Central in October 2024. I know we're getting quite technical now, but RISC-V has the potential to make the watches last much longer without increasing battery capacity. There have also been leaks about a custom Tensor chipset for the Pixel Watch 5 based on ARM cores. Right now it's unclear what exactly will happen, but the claim that Google wants to move on from off-the-shelf chipsets for its watches can be made. The Google Pixel Watch is such an interesting product in so many ways. For one, it's the first generation and yet it doesn't suck. It actually continued to be a great watch for years, and I don't think Google gets enough credit for putting out a very reliable wearable basically on their first try. And if we look at the Apple Watch and how it hasn't really changed at all for almost a decade now, it gives me a positive feeling about the future of watches made by Google. I like the form factor, and if they try to make a better watch from it year after year, I have no reason to complain. Thanks for watching, I'm Benjamin and this is Pixel Perfect.